Hey everybody, thanks so much for checking out my mini tutorial today on 3D nail art. Alrighty, and this being a mini tutorial, I am going to go ahead and jump straight into it. So I did not lay any acrylic on these. I just simply applied my nail tips with the KDS glue. Everything will be linked below in the description box. And this is just to kind of like take off the shine so that the flowers really stand out for this one. This is my inspiration pick. I don't remember where I found this, I think Instagram. But this is the bead size that I'm pretty much going to be using for every one of the flower petals. Now, the first bead, what you want to do is you want to take, when you're applying your 3D art, you want to take your bead, and there's two different ways that you can get your bead to the consistency that you want it. The first way being how I just showed you, where I take a regular bead and I just lay it on there and then just allow it to kind of cure by itself. Now the second option that you have is to take a regular bead, sort of pat dry the back of it on your paper towel and then place it. You want the bead to be a little shiny, but really more dry than that. You don't really want it to be matte. I'm not sure what the exact word for be in between that would be, but you definitely don't want it shiny because then it's too wet and it'll just be sliding everywhere. You'll be wondering why your flowers are so hard to achieve. But you don't want it too dry because then it won't stick properly to the nail. It'll be really hard to work with. It'll start crumbling if it even sticks at all. So you just kind of want to practice playing around with your beads. Once you get the bead size and the consistency, you'll figure out whether you need to pat dry it or just set it on the nail and let it dry by itself. When I pat down, you can see here I'm using the wider end of the brush. I like to keep my brush really flat and use the pointy end towards the center, and then utilize that big flat back end of my nail brush to really flatten out the roundest part of the petals. If I was doing the other kind of flower, what is it, a lily, I think? Something like that. The other one that's got the longer petals, that point, if I was doing something like that, I would use more of the side of the brush to sort of create like that line in the middle. But these, we really want them to sort of fade from the real thinner, or the thinner area where the diamonds are going to be in the middle, out to like this thicker petal area. You want these to be, because they're like the rounder ones, you want them to be relatively like not perfect. You really want them to look clean and nice and all that, but these are supposed to be flowers, and flowers are never perfect. So you just want to keep that in mind. The best looking flowers are the ones that aren't perfect. So again, I'm just using that brush and I'm just patting it down, making sure that I'm using a bead that's a little more on the drier side. That way it's easier to work with. It's not necessarily matte when I'm using it, but it's not as shiny, liquidy looking clear. And you can see that when I start patting it, it doesn't just disperse everywhere. If your beads are too wet, you'll know that because they'll just start like running everywhere and just ruin what you've got going on. And when you are layering petals, you do want to make sure that the bottom petal is completely dry before you lay on that top petal. If you can still maneuver and manipulate that bottom petal, it's not dry enough yet, don't even bother putting your other bead on top of it, because what will happen is that bottom bead will suck up the liquid from the top bead and it'll re-wet it. It'll just turn into a huge glob, and you really want these really nice defined petals. Alright, and now I'm going to add just some of those white accent lines that you've seen in the inspiration picture. I sort of followed the inspiration picture. I didn't really follow it to a T. There are sometimes if I see a picture and I really love it, I won't really change much on it. This one, I really loved it, but I did decide to just change a few things and kind of make it more of my own. And this was one of those things, is kind of where I placed the lines and how I placed them. I sort of, it inspired me, but I did my own thing at the same time, which is totally fine. It's really a lot easier to incorporate your own twist on things as opposed to just doing exactly what the picture is. While sometimes that does work, you know, you just kind of want to make it your own a little bit so you can put your name on it. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how we went from this to this. I am so excited about this one. I was really proud of myself, honestly. So I'm just taking my UV gel resin. I'll leave it, of course, in the description box below. I love this UV gel when it comes to putting on diamonds and bling. Nobody ever really complains about diamonds coming off, anything like that. They last 3 and 4 weeks. I love this UV gel, but so I just placed that big pearl one in the middle and then some of the smallest diamonds that I have, and then I'm just adding some accent gold beads in between those little diamonds just to give it some depth and make it a little more flower looking in them, like the center of the flower. And then on the accent flowers, because it's like basically for all the fingers, I did one big one, the main flower kind of in the center, and then I did a couple of like half flowers around. So for those half flowers, I just put random size beads in the middle and then just did some little accents, whether it was two, like for the bottom one, I did just 2 little gold balls with the bling in the center, and then this one I did a bigger bling and then just 2 smaller blings, and then I think like a bead, only 1 bead of the gold or whatever. So after that, these are what the first 2 fingers look like, and then I'm just gonna pretty much repeat that on all of the rest of the fingers. Alrighty, and this is our finished look. I didn't do the thumb because nobody ever does thumbs. So I loved these sets. I wish I could wear a set like this, but I can't wear nails this long and pointy. So thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, check out my Facebook, Instagram, everything linked below. Thanks again.